All right, welcome to yet another Talk Wednesday. I'm very, very excited. I have the wonderful Jennifer Dawn on with me today, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with her. She's got a very, very interesting story. But before we get there, Jennifer, where are you in the world? Where do you live? Are you in Canada? Are you in the US?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me here, Steph. It's great to be here. And hello, everybody. So, I actually live in West Kelowna in BC, Canada.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm married to a BC boy. So
Oh,
I lived out there for 13 years in the Lower Mainland. So
nice.
BC is very near and dear to my heart, and you couldn't live in a more beautiful area than Kelowna. The interior is spectacular. You get the beauty of all of the
Mhm.
seasons,
That's true.
which is so great. Something we didn't get a lot of on the Lower Mainland, that's for sure.
Yes, I totally understand because we just actually moved here from the Lower Mainland this past summer. So, we've only been here just a few short months, but it's absolutely beautiful here. So, I love it.
Excellent, excellent. So where did you move from? So where were you?
Actually, we used to live in Chilliwack.
Oh, ha, that's where my husband's from. So there you
Oh,
go. Small
no
world, right?
way. It
Yeah,
is.
yes. And then of course our founder, so the founder of Pursuit 365, Shelley Lynn Hughes, she's based out of White Rock. So lots of neat connections there. So there's a perfect segue. So I'm very, very curious to hear what drew you to Pursuit 365. What drew you to want to tell your story in this beautiful book? I would love to hear about that journey for you.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you. So, first of all, what first drew me was Shelley. When I first connected with Shelley, I was actually recommended from an amazing co author and friend, Cav. She actually pointed me in the direction and she said, "You have to meet Shelley." And when I met Shelley, I was like, okay, this woman is unbelievable. I love her energy. I love her enthusiasm, her passion, her mission, and I wanted to be a part of it. So when she shared her vision for Pursuit 365, I wanted to be a part of it and help people in any way that I could. So then what kind of motivated me and helped me to write the story that I did write for Pursuit 365 is my hope and vision was anybody that read my story, no matter where they are in the world, no matter what they've experienced, that they can get through it. They can overcome it. And that's why I wrote that in my short story that we're all phoenixes. We all rise from the ashes stronger than before, but we usually don't give ourselves enough credit when we've done so. Sometimes we don't take that time to pause and reflect and see how much we have truly overcome in our life. And as we know, life is not all unicorns and rainbows. There's going to be speed bumps along the way. And when those speed bumps happen, it's important to pause and reflect at all the times that we've overcome the past speed bumps and we've made it and we've got through it and we're stronger than we were before. So we can get through whatever we have to deal with now in the present. So, and that was my hope and mission that when people read my personal story in Pursuit 365, that it reminded them no matter what they're going through, they can get through it. So that's
Wow,
that's
you just said it all there. Like that's mic drop. We're done, folks. We'll leave it there because you just laid it all on the table. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, I'm speechless. you yes, wow. Was that written somewhere on your computer screen? Because that
no.
that just flowed out of you so beautifully. That wow. I'm very, very touched. And And I needed to hear that message today. So I'm sure many other people did, because I tend to be one of those see the goal, hit the goal, head down. I've been called a bulldozer. I've been called a freight
Mhm.
train, and for me, it's interesting, right? How people come into your life at certain times, and your message is one that I personally need to remind myself of every single day. So thank you so much for that transparency and for sharing that.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so I've been doing a little bit of research on you, and I see that you're about to give birth to something.
I
And
sure
so you have
am.
something very exciting
I
coming. So yeah, you're about to give birth, and I don't want to give your surprise away, but please share with everybody what's happening in your world.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So, yes, so side note, we're not talking a physical birth of a child, but birth of a book baby. So, just so everybody knows. So, because I do have 3 kids, but they're all in their mid-20s now, but who's counting? So, this coming Tuesday, so November 22nd, uh, so hard to believe. So 11/22/22 for the exact numbers. I am actually giving birth to what Steph so beautifully hinted at, is that I'm giving birth to my first solo book, and it's called Dad's Pennies from Heaven, and it's being launched on Amazon worldwide. And it's another project that I'm incredibly passionate about. And for me, it has been honestly the biggest project I've ever done and completed in my whole life so far. So just to give you kind of like behind the scenes, Steph, are you okay if I share with you and everybody kind of behind the scenes
Oh,
about this book?
please. That's what I was going to say. Please share with us, because I know a little bit, and
Yeah.
the story is so fascinating. Like, it is so fascinating. So yeah, I'm literally on the edge of my seat, waiting to hear more. So yes, please,
Okay.
please share.
Okay, sounds good. So thank you. So as you can tell, the title Dad's Pennies from Heaven. So the story actually is mostly about my dad's journey and my journey. So I actually recorded the last 4 days of my dad's life. And so to give you guys the behind the scenes, why this is so huge and so important, and why I wanted my dad's message to be heard worldwide, is because my dad actually had dementia. And so for the last few years of his life, I wasn't even able to have a conversation with him. And because he was in the later stages of dementia, that actually wasn't the cause for his passing. He actually had pulmonary fibrosis as well as COPD. So that was actually what caused his passing. But for years, I wasn't able to have my dad. I wasn't able to have the conversations that we were able to have. And in the last 5 days of his life, he no longer had dementia. And I decided to audio record him, and I'm so thankful I did. And I recorded the entire visits that I had with my dad. I brought my mom, I brought my middle son, Matt, and my dad was crystal clear. The medical field is still blown away by everybody that witnessed what happened with my dad. All the nursing staff, I had one nurse that actually had been in nursing over 20 years, said she never experienced anything like it in her career. My dad was able to not only talk about, well, first of all, have crystal clear conversations, no more dementia. He was able to actually talk about the physical process of dying and how it felt for him. So he said he was always teaching me, and still does. He said, Jennifer, I want you to know this is how it feels. He was always teaching me. And so he actually explained how the physical process felt in his legs. He felt the fluid separating, and he describes in vivid detail how it felt for him. Then he takes it a step even farther, and this is the drum roll. This is what I wanted to share with the world, because I know my dad wants to share it with the world. We have always been taught that people with dementia and Alzheimer's in the later stages are no longer there. I thought my dad was no longer there. All the hurtful things that my dad would say to me in the later stages, god awful things that made me cry. I thought my dad was no longer there because my dad that I loved and that I knew would never say those things to me. On my dad's deathbed, he describes in detail to my middle son, Matt, and I, that dementia. He explains how it was for him having dementia. He says, Jennifer, I actually could hear, well, actually, he was telling my son, Matt, he goes, I could hear myself talking to me and saying the things that he was saying. And he goes, I couldn't control the other person. He goes, Matt, having dementia is like having two people in one body. You have one person controlling the words and everything that the people see, but the person is still inside. I, to this day, have not read or heard anything like my dad has described on his deathbed about having dementia. And I was involved with the Alzheimer's Society in BC. Amazing, amazing people. And I had one lady that I cried on so many times. And while I was having my journey with my dad for years, she was amazing. And she actually wrote the foreword for my book. And her name is Avalon.
Cool.
Absolutely beautiful woman. And she also shared with me that she has never ever seen or experienced or read anywhere anything like my dad has shared. And she deals with people worldwide, international. She's also on the helpline, so she assists family members all over the world. And she has never ever seen this in her 38 years of her experience with Alzheimer's and dementia. She said that what she has seen is people at the very end, near the end of their life, they might have a few minutes where they're themselves and there's no dementia or Alzheimer's, but she said never 5 days, never mind 4 days of audio recordings. And I have it documented. It's interesting how life works because I went into medical transcription and I didn't know what I was going to do with my medical transcription. Well, lo and behold, it helped me with my dad's book because I literally transcribed word for word everything that my dad said on the audio recordings. And on one of the audio recordings, a nurse comes in, beautiful man, and has a conversation with my dad about focusing on the good memories. All of that has been described. It was one of the most touching conversations I've ever heard in my life. My mom and I were crying nonstop because this nurse just had the biggest heart and helped my dad focus on the good memories and diverted the focus on the pain that he was experiencing and the fear he was experiencing prior to his passing. So absolutely amazing nurse. And so I transcribed word for word everything that this beautiful nurse and everything that my dad said in those 4 days has been transcribed in the book. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. What an incredible gift. Like what? It's interesting because my brain, as I'm listening to you and I'm following this, has been on quite a journey, from the, what, trying to understand what that must have felt like from his perspective, almost being like he was locked in there, like doing like the no, like don't say like,
Yeah.
and you never want to imagine what having dementia would be like, but then then you're trying to, or I am anyway, trying to go like, would I rather not know anything, or would I, or watching yourself act in a way that you would never ever act. Wow, did he address any of that with you at all in that?
He did. Sorry about that.
That's
Yes,
okay, I'm
he
like, where'd you go?
yeah. I'm here. My phone's been doing all sorts of weird things lately, actually. But yes, he did. And actually, I wrote in the book that, like he said too, like he had no control over the words at all. And one of the most hurtful things that he ever said to me near the end, when he was not himself, when the other person had control of him, he actually said to me that in front of my mom, he was in the hospital, and he said, he goes, Jennifer, I want you to spend the rest of your life trying to find where I am. He goes, I'm going to be buried underneath a maple tree. And he's like, there's so many maple trees in BC. So he's like, I want you to spend the rest of your life trying to find which tree I'm buried under. So those are the sort of
Wow.
things that he would say. And then in the last 5 days of his life, he apologized to me greatly for everything that he had said, the other person had said, because he
Mm.
said he literally had no control over those things that this person was saying to me. And I will never forget, there's another beautiful Canadian woman, and her name is Jan Arden. And I'll never forget, a few years ago, I was being completely ripped apart by this other person and causing all sorts of problems for me. And Jan Arden, she obviously wrote about her journey with her parents with Alzheimer's, and did such a beautiful job. And I somehow found her on social media, and she was sharing about her journey with her mom. And I was going through the experience with my dad. And I honestly didn't expect her to respond to my message, but she has no idea how much she helped me that day. And she had
Mm.
shared about how her mom was actually going to threaten to sue her. And my dad had very similar, not, he didn't say sue, but another just awful accusations. And I said to Jan that I was so thankful that she shared her painful story with everybody, and that I saw it, because I said it helped me, because during that time I felt so incredibly alone, and I felt attacked unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. And it was my dad, like it was my dad of all people. And so when I read that her mom did all these things and said all these things, it helped me to know that I wasn't the only one experiencing these god awful things with dementia and Alzheimer's. So that I never forgot. So if Jan happens to ever see this interview, I just want to thank you so, so much, because you responded instantly to my message, and you said how much it meant to you that I shared my story. And I just want to thank you for sharing your story about your parents. And I know your parents are definitely very proud of you and thankful that they had you as a daughter. So thank you for being so amazing, Jan. So I think also that's part of just getting back to my book, Dad's Pennies from Heaven, is my hope and prayer is that whoever reads it, even if you have not personally been touched and impacted by dementia and Alzheimer's in some way, because unfortunately we know dementia and Alzheimer's is everywhere now. I even had a dog that had dementia, like pets even get it as well. If you haven't been impacted it by knowing somebody personally that has it, I hope that there will be some messages within the book that help you in your present life, help you with healing in any way. That is my hope and prayer with this book, because I don't just talk about dementia and Alzheimer's. I talk about my whole journey, including about my experiences being a very spiritual and mediumistic person since I was a child. So I kind of meshed it all together, and I don't want to give it away, but for people that read the book, you'll see why it's all meshed together, because it all goes together. So with my dad's family.
Wow.
So
That is so, so special. And how interesting, too, because I'm not sure if you know, but Jan Arden was actually in the first Pursuit 365 book.
I
So
heard that.
she's technically, a Pursuit 365 co-author with us. And I know that's a big part of what Shelley's really, really trying to create here is a beautiful community. So, how special, right? That your lives are intertwined. And thank you so much for sharing your heart, sharing, such a personal story. You know, there's so many layers to this, and I love the fact that our world is finally letting guards down. You know, like, I don't know
Yes.
about your parents, but like my parents were very much that generation where, you know, you kept everything behind closed doors, so to speak, and you didn't
Mhm.
talk about, you know, and you put up the front kind of thing. And I love the fact that our world is becoming more and more transparent because, as you shared, so many people are struggling with, you know, so many different things in life. And the more, you know,
Mhm.
we share our struggles, it's amazing who you come in contact with that, you know, you allow them to exhale and go, oh, thank God I'm not the only one. And even though we can never ever understand somebody else's story, you know, to when we go through our own things, it helps us have that empathy and that compassion, and you know, and hopefully makes the world just a better place, right, where we can link hands and have that compassion for others. And yeah, it's very, very special. So thank you for sharing such a unique and touching story.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
very, very special. Very, very special. So
Oh,
just to reiterate, so you mentioned that your book, it's coming out on, again, November the 21st.
22nd, 11/22/22.
Oh, oh, perfect. And on Amazon, correct?
Correct. Amazon worldwide. Yeah.
Wow. And it sounds like an ideal Christmas gift for a lot of people. So your timing is absolutely perfect.
Oh, well,
Absolutely perfect.
well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, and right before American Thanksgiving as well, too. So, yeah, so thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, no, thank you. Because again, it's such a raw, um, you know, it was so real for you, right? And I can't even
Mhm.
imagine, you know, knowing, because here, you know, right, that this is not my dad, right? But trying to unpack the and separate, you know, what you're hearing from, um you know, from what you know to be true. And how wonderful that you had that time to have that closure and to have that time with your dad, um, you know, before his end, to write things, so to speak, right? And to really have that solidified for you that that wasn't him. That really wasn't him.
Yes, so true. And I'm very thankful for it too. And I just want to go back to something that you said just a few moments ago. So my dad made a shirt and had it custom made because it was one of his biggest missions. He actually had the words that you literally just said a moment ago, making the world a better place. And he actually had that on his shirt and he would wear that all the time.
Oh,
Let's make
that's
the world a better
so
place. Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and please, let's do make the world a better place. Let's continue to put, you know, love and light and positivity out there. And
I
yeah,
agree.
there's, especially after these last couple years, I don't know about, you know, out where you were, but you know, if now more than ever, that's what
Yes.
we really need to do, is uplift one another. And that's, again, I think, like you, so much of what I was drawn to was the message woven throughout this project, right? The
Yes.
fact that you know, we've had a hardship, but you know, we've risen from the ashes, so to speak, and hopefully in telling our story we can help someone, you know, give someone else a hand up and help them move forward.
I
So
I
all right,
agree.
so we have a book coming out. Is there anything else you would love to tell our Pursuit 365 community while you've got the stage? Anything else you would love to share?
Sounds great. Well, if you get a chance to, well, first of all, the Pursuit 365, it is such a beautiful, beautiful book. Everybody, the entire team has done such a beautiful job. And Shelley obviously has been the magician and made it all happen. So it is such a gorgeous book. And the stories are so profound and so inspiring. And I think it's beautifully just woven together. So you definitely, if you don't have the Pursuit 365 book already, I highly, highly recommend that you definitely get the Pursuit 365 book. And what I would love to share with everybody, just one, well, two thoughts before we go, and that is just to remember that you are a phoenix. You are a phoenix. So you rise from the ashes stronger than before. And just like you said, Steph, the whole entire world has experienced so much. And right now we're at a point where we're rising from the ashes. So it's so important that there is nothing but love and support, understanding, and patience. Patience with one another, because we've all experienced rising from the ashes differently. So it's not fair for any of us to paint the brush for everybody else the same as it is for us. So everybody heals, everybody experiences life differently. So it's really important that we embrace that. So not only are we unique as individuals, we're unique with our healing, we're unique with our abilities and our skills and how we're all woven together, and we're unique how we actually experience life. So that's something I highly, highly recommend, is just embracing that and appreciating that fact. But just like how Shelley has so beautifully woven together the Pursuit 365, that is a visual reminder of how we're all connected. So we all are connected. Even though we're individual, we're all connected. So our how we treat people has a ripple effect on other people that we don't even see. So that's one of the last words that my dad said, is to treat everybody with kindness. Be good to one another. And that was one of the last things that he said before he took his last breath. And it's so true. We really have to be good with one another. And the last thing, if you're cool with me sharing, Steph, if anybody does want to reach out to me personally, feel free to find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, and you'll find me as Jennifer Dawn, aka the Sagittarius Coach. And yes, I am a Sagittarius. So you'll find me as a Sagittarius Coach, and you can email me at info@jenniferdawn.net. And the website, last but not least, is Steph is going to be coming out very soon. So that's going to be www.jenniferdawn.net. So that will be up before Christmas. So yeah.
Well,
So thank
you
you.
did my job for me, because that was exactly what I was going to close off with, is where do people find you? So thank you for that. I would love, though, to just rewind just a few seconds, though, and I would love to wrap this up. What were those words that your dad said? I would love to, like, literally have a mic drop moment with wrapping this up with those final words from your father.
Okay, sounds good.
If
And
you
thank
wouldn't
you so
mind.
much, first of all, Steph, for having me here, and for everybody that watched either live or catching later with the replay. Thank you so much, everybody. So my dad's final pieces of wisdom, his pennies, as I call them, his pennies of wisdom, is be kind to one another and be good to one another. So, and I think it was a very
Amen
beautiful
to
and
that.
powerful
Amen
message.
to that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your special story, your father's special story. And thank you for everyone who watched. And definitely, I'm going to purchase a copy of your book. So everybody, let's support Jennifer in this amazing project. And yes, have a beautiful day. And again, be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day.
You as well. Thank you.